Das Feuer, und das ist auch ein Fachausdruck.
Fire needs to be maintained at any time according to the purpose it shall serve. It is important not to burn it, and it shouldn't be too hot and neither too cold.
Und nicht zu kalt ist.
The power of fire makes iron soft and ductile. It can be deformed almost any way possible. Coal serves as a combustible material. Depending on the application, various types of coal like charcoal or anthracite coal with varying calorific values are used.
More air means more oxygen and a greater heat. This will accelerate the process. You have to be careful not to overdo the heat. Iron contains carbon, which combusts at 1,350 degrees Celsius. If you reach that, it's over. It will no longer be iron, but dissipate into its constituent parts and finally combust.
If the temperature is right, the workpiece is put into the fire, in this case, an iron bar.
Man steckt ihn dort rein,
You put it there where the fire is the brightest, where it blinds you when you look into it.
wo man reinschaut.
When the iron starts flying, it's high time to start working on the anvil. Quite accordingly to the famous saying, you have to strike while the iron is hot.
Schmieden ist ein plastisches Verformen.
Forging is plastic deforming. You deform material at a certain temperature, while the volume stays the same.
Volumen bleibt an sich gleich.
Forging allows the stretching of material.
Strecken,
Stretching further allows sharpening.
spitzen.
The material can also be headed, meaning it can be given more body at a certain point it is needed. Forging also allows embossing and, of course, bending.
Verbirgen sowieso.
The most important tool needed for all these techniques is the forging hammer, whose blow has to be exerted with great power by the forger. Sepp Eibel uses a round bar to create an exquisite shoehorn. For this, he starts working on one side before the other side gets heated. This side is then forged by a spring hammer that works like this. A spring assembly raises the hammerhead and then throws it down with full force. This way, a square lateral cut is forged.
Jetzt, da wir in dem Bereich
Now I will start working on the twisted handle.
Griff,
For this, I put a mark here so that I know where the iron is getting heated.
kurzes Zeichen.
Now I'm putting the bar into the fire in order for it to get heated at the point I've intended.
Dass ich die richtige Stelle habe, wo es dann auch warm ist.
That way, only the part that will be bent by the anvil fork is brought to the right forging temperature. The temperature of the used materials in general plays an essential role.
Man misst es mit dem Auge, man sieht
The temperature is measured with the eyes.
ganz genau.
In the dark forge, you can clearly see how warm, as forgers call it, the material is.
Und ein guter Schmied kann wirklich die Temperatur einschätzen, plus minus 10 Grad.
An excellent forger can actually tell the temperature up to plus minus 10 degrees Celsius.
Gar nichts.
In former times, there was no automatic and electric welding equipment.
Material
Everything was forge welded, meaning the material needs to be brought to forge temperature.
Zweck.
It would actually combust at this point. This is why we have to put borax or river sand onto the surface. This creates a protective shell and allows for the temperature to get even higher so that the one needed for welding can be reached. The material is not forge welded, but welded on the anvil. But the heat, of course, stems from the fire.
Und wenn ich dann draufschlag, dann spritzt.
When I strike a blow with a hammer, the slag splatters away explosively and is gone. Now iron meets iron, it connects and gets welded.
Verbindet sich und es wird verschweißt. Muss man sehr vorsichtig natürlich vorgehen.
You have to be very careful, but still strike hard. The characteristic noise you can hear, that little bang, shows that the material welds.
Das zeigt dann und dann hört man auch, es schweißt.
In the next step, Sepp Eibel makes sure that the stem gets the right twist through torsion. For this, it is brought to the right forge temperature again, placed in a vise, and turned with the help of a tap wrench. In order to illuminate the forged goods, they're treated with copper, or like in this case, brass brushes. The metal abrades on the hot surface and gives it a golden patina. Then spread forging takes place in order to forge the arch.
The art of the strike is to have the right hammer, as well as the right weight and bunching. Then you have to strike the right way.
The workpiece isn't finished yet. While the object is still warm, it gets brushed. Only then is the shoehorn complete, made by one of the oldest crafts in the world, forging.